Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm going over the Xenos Kill Team previews as shown by Games Workshop. But please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Are you hyped for the rest of the Xenos? Remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you're going to give me some more support as well. So let's get on with it. So once again, this is just a preview, not a full in-depth guide. I'll have those later. So let's get through with the Xenos. Starting off with Kommandos, they have the Throat Sitter ability, so every Commando operative sans the Bomb Squig can charge from Conceal, which is unchanged, so still very, very good. For equipment-wise, they have the Harpoon, so once per turning point, a friendly Commando, excluding the Grot or Bomb Squig, can use the following ranged weapon. So 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 4-5, range 8, lethal 5-up stun. It's very nice, it still has its stun ability, now has lethal 5-up, so it's pretty good. Mortar range is really nice there. Would have liked to see something else, but at least they still have a Harpoon. Then they have Crumplum, which is a firefight ploy. At the end of the firefight phase, select one Commander operative can perform a free fight action. So once again, this is the same. So nothing really much changed too much here, apart from 8-inch range on the Harpoon. It's very useful, Crumplum, at the end of the turning point. If you've charged 2 people, fought and killed one, at the end of the turning point, you can fight and kill another. So very useful there. Then you have the Comms, who is 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5-up save, 10 wounds, which is usually the standard profile for Commandos. So there's a Shocker Pistol, which is 6 attacks, 8 on 4s, 1-0, range 8, devastating 2, severe stun. So it's actually gone up in damage because it used to be 1-1. Now it's 1-2. Actually pretty good considering severes. If you don't roll any crits, you can turn one of your normal successes into a hit. So very, very good there. And then the fists are the same. He's got I Got a Plan, Lad. So once during each of this operative's activations, it can perform a pickup, place marker, or mission action for 1 less AP, which is the same as it currently is. And then it still has its comm ability, which has the support keyword. Select one other friendly operative, excluding the Bomb Squig, visible and within 6, add 1 to the APL. So completely unchanged there, apart from the slight buff on the Shock Pistol, which is pretty nice. So Commando's looking pretty much unchanged, I guess. We still need to see everything else, but maybe this is a sign of just showing like they're good, so they're probably staying exactly the same. Next, we have the Farstalker Kinband, one of my favorite kill teams, notably like the worst kill team in Season 2. Well, 2nd edition. So let's see what's changed. So Farstalker, in the ready step of each strategy phase, you can change the order of up to 3 friendly Farstalker Kinband operatives that are not within control range of enemy operatives. When it's your turn to counteract, you can change the order of 1 friendly operative that's not within control range of enemy operatives instead. This still counts as counteracting, but doesn't count as that friendly operative's counteraction for this turning point. So basically, if you have someone on Conceal, instead for their counteract, they can change to engage. Then your opponent gets to activate, then they can counteract, basically. So it's not immediately you switch to Conceal and you switch from Conceal to engage and counteract. No, you have to change your order first. Then if you survive, then you can do your shooting, which I think is a fair trade-off. The interesting thing is you could combo it like if you're going last, like especially if you like last turning point, activate a shooter from Conceal, switch to engage, shoot, and they're the last operative to activate. Then with the Farstalker ability in the strategy phase, you can switch them back to Conceal. So that's pretty neat there. Then for equipment, you have the Toxin Shot. So once per turning point, when a friendly operative is performing the shoot action and you select a Crude Rifle or Scattergun or the focused profile of dual Crude pistols, you can use this rule until the end of the action. The weapon has the lethal 5-up and stun. That's very nice. Interestingly, it works on the shotgun now, so that's a really nice buff, and you can use it on the pistols, but you could before. But using it on the shotguns, oh my gosh, that's actually a really nice buff to Toxin Shot. Then you've got Slip Away as a firefight ploy. Use this during a friendly operative's activation. During the activation, they can fall back for 1 AP, well, 1 less AP, so they fall back for 1 action point. That's really, really good as well. Makes it hard to tie up your operatives in close combat. Very good for stuff like probably the Pistolet who'll be able to fall back and then maybe shoot. I like this a lot. This is very interesting, giving me high hopes for the Crute. And speak of the devil, here is the Crute Pistolier. So it's 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5-up save, 8 wounds. Standard profile for a Crute. His focused profile for his pistols is 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3-4, range 8, ceaseless lethal 5-up. So effectively unchanged. It lost balance, so gained ceaseless, which is better, and it's gone from 6-inch range to 8-inch range, which is nice. Then you've got dual Crude pistols with salvo, 4 attacks, 8 on 3s, 3-4, range 8, salvo. So select up to 2 valid targets with this weapon against both of them in any order of your choice. The good thing here, it hits on 3s regardless, but I believe you have to choose 2 different targets. You can't use the same target twice, which I believe is correct. So you can't just fire the same target twice. I guess that needs a clarification because it doesn't say 2 different valid targets, but the same target can't be selected twice. Anyway, you've got quick draw. So once per turning point, when an enemy operative is performing the shoot action and this operative is selected as a valid target or would be a secondary target from the blast weapon rule, if this operative is ready, you can immediately interrupt that action to use this rule. If you do, you can immediately perform a free shoot action with either its dual group hostiles focused, and you can change your order to engage to do so, but then the enemy operative must be a valid target. So before you had to be on engage. Now someone moves within 8 inches of you, shoots you, you switch to engage, you shoot them back first before. So this is actually really, really good. The only issue is if someone just stays out 9-inch range, then you're not a valid target, but it's a nice change. This is kind of what the Croup Pistolier needed. There's no restrictions on its movement, so if someone's charged you, you could spend a CP for slip away, fall back, and then double shoot. So I'm really liking the flexibility. We've only seen the Croup Pistolier, but if the Croup Pistolier has had such a glow up, maybe the rest of the Croup will as well, which is great because I have a fully painted Farstalker Kinband warband kill team. So I would love to use it if every other operative is as good as the Pistolier. So I am very hyped for Croup. So next we have Pathfinders, the game's favorite faction. So Markalites, the ability. Some Pathfinder operatives can perform the Markalite unique action. So for 1 action point, you select 1 enemy operative visible and they gain 1 of your Markalite tokens. You cannot perform this while within control range. If an operative excluding the recon drone would perform the shoot action excluding guard, and this action during the same activation, only the target of that shoot action can be selected as a valid for this action. So basically, so if you are shooting someone, that operative has to Markalite the same target, or if you Markalite the target, has to be the same target you shot. So if you're just Markaliting someone, then you're fine. But if you are going to shoot with that operative, it has to be the same target, so it's unchanged there. Once during each of their activations, whenever an enemy operative that has 1 of your Markalite tokens perform the dash, charge, fallback, or reposition action, remove 1 of those tokens. Oh my gosh. Well, while only some Pathfinder operatives can perform the Markalite action, all Pathfinder operatives can benefit from its effects. Whenever a friendly Pathfinder operative is shooting with a weapon from its data card, excluding the Assault Grenadier's Fusion Grenade, it has additional rules determined by the number of Markalite tokens the target has. These are cumulative, so if an enemy operative has 2 of your Markalite tokens, for any operative shooting never have rules 1 of 2 during that sequence. So this is quite a huge change. I guess they don't drop during at the end of the turning point now, and you may go like, oh, that's fine, you're still losing 1 a turn. But let's say you Markalite someone and then they move and dash, they now lose 2 Markalite tokens. Oh no, sorry, I misread that. There's still only 1. I guess if they don't fall off at the end of the turning point, that's fine. It's just a weird interaction. I think it's fine, but let's see what the Markalites do, because that's what everyone wants to know. So if you have 1 Markalite token, your weapons have the saturate weapon rule, so they ignore cover. Then if you have 2 or more, you have the balanced weapon rule, so you get to reroll a hit. If you have your target has 3 or more, you ignore being obscured. And then if you have 4, you have the Seek Light special rule. So you notice that they've removed the +1 to hit, but now it's quicker to get to the Seek Light weapon rule. So Markalites, technically better. The issue is you've lost +1 to hit, but you still keep balanced. So that's kind of a fair trade-off, and it's faster to get to Seek Light. But the key thing, it's still only free. Oh, it's now only free to ignore obscurity, which is very good. We need to see what happens to high intensity Markalites, but I don't know if that's good or bad. It's technically worse. All right, I'm not going to lie, it's worse. We need to see what's happened to Bonded, if Bonded still gives rerolls as well, but we'll see. So far, it looks okay. So for equipment, we have the Photon Grenade. Once per turning point, a friendly Pathfinder operative that has a Markalite action on their data card can perform the following unique action. Select a valid target for this operative and 1d6 on a free up until the end of the operative's next activation. Subtract 2 from the movement stat, and it cannot dash. And you cannot perform this while within control range. That's actually a big buff, because before it just worked on a 4-up and you were praying. Now that's actually a lot better. You can pin a lot of operatives, especially if they've already moved and they've already activated and they're expended. Then you can just, on a 3-up, now they can only move next activation and they can't dash, which is really powerful against operatives that have, for example, heavy dash. that means they just basically can't shoot or they just stand still. So very interesting. It still would be match dependent, but you might take photon grenades every time. They're very good at pinning melee teams as well. Then you've got Point Blank Fusillade as a firefight ploy. Uses when a friendly Pathfinder operative except a drone is retaliating. If it wasn't within the control range of any operatives at the start of the activation or counteraction, you can use one of its ranged weapons as a melee weapon, excluding a weapon that has a grenade in the name, during that sequence. If you do, you cannot block during that sequence, and the following weapon rules have no effect until the end of that sequence. Devastating, Piercing, or Torrent. So if someone charges you, it's not if they're fighting you, like they're already in combat, but that turning point, if they charge you, you can just go point blank. No, it doesn't have -1 to hit, so you're still hitting on your ballistic skill. You still get all the benefit of rerolls and stuff. You just don't get Devastating, Piercing, or Torrent. But that's really, really good, especially if someone has a lot of Markalites. They will have -1 for charging, but then if they've got 3, you're still getting balanced, even if they have 2. So that's actually quite good indeed. We still need to see how the rest of the Pathfinders work, but if it looks like they're getting buffs against melee teams, this might be what Pathfinder players have been asking for, and finally force teams like Felgor to respect Pathfinders, which would be very interesting indeed. Then you've got the Shazui. So it's 2 attack, well, it's APL 2, 6-inch move, 5 up save, 8 wounds, so 1 more wound than normal for a Pathfinder. Hits on freeze because it's a leader. So 4 attacks, hit on freeze, 4/5. So post carbines unchanged. Suck it, people hoping for 4/4 damage. Pathfinders are great. Then this guy's Gunbout, 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 2/3, so normal Pathfinder should hit on 5s. It has Art of War, not related to the streaming people. Once per battle, as a strategic gambit, select one of the following to apply to its rules until the end of the turning point. Monk Car, add 1 inch to the move stat of friendly Pathfinder operatives. Like, I feel so much pain, but it's okay. We've lost the free dash during our activations, so you now go to 7-inch move instead of having a free dash while on engage. That's fine. K-On, friendly Pathfinder operatives can perform a free Markali action during their activation if they have a conceal order. Okay, never mind. K-On is finally the best. So turning point 1, you just K-On, depending on how many high intensity Markalites you can. And then, turning point 1, you just Markali everyone. That's amazing. Yeah, goodbye Monkar. K-On is where it's at. I am very happy about that. And then Markalite for 1 AP. Because basically, turning point 1, you pop K-On and you go, I can see your knee, you're Markalited, and just move and dash and Markalite everyone. Amazing. Or even save it for turning point 2. But because it has to be a conceal order, likely turning point 1. Very nice there. I was thinking they may rein in Pathfinders, but look, if they want to keep Felgor at full power, maybe I won't retire my Pathfinders. We'll see, you know. Especially if they're still 11 operatives. Imagine if they went up to 12. Nah, they'll be 11. I'm sure it's fine. Look, you know what I said about Felgor yesterday? Forget it. It's fine. It's all fine. I love it. It's good. Karma is restored. So then we got Hierotek Circle. So for reanimation protocols, the first time each friendly Hierotek Circle operative is incapacitated, before it's removed from the kill zone, place one of your reanimation markers within its control range, then remove it as incapacitated, also removing any tokens and rules it affect, e.g. the Chronomancer's Chronometron action, poison tokens, APL. In the ready step of each strategic phase, select one of your reanimation markers and roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, leave that marker in the kill zone and repeat this process with a different one of your reanimate markers. On a free up, an operative is reanimated. You can only select each of your reanimation markers once per turning point, and once you roll a free up, you don't select any more for that turning point. Set up the operative that reanimation marker was placed for. It's no longer incapacitated. It must be within 3 inches of that reanimation marker, not within control range of enemy operatives. If you cannot do so, treat the roll as a 1 to 2. It has D3+1 wound remaining. It has an order of your choice and is ready. Remove that reanimation marker. As reanimated operatives are no longer incapacitated for the purposes of kill up, this means your opponent kill grade can go down during the battle and they lose VPs accordingly. However, it won't retroactively change any other VPs your opponent has scored from TAC Ops. They've gone with the suggestion when Hierotek were released that reanimation just happens for everyone, but now they've made it not great, because you currently can only bring back 1 operative at turning point. So if you kill 3 operatives, 1 of those should come back, unless you just roll 3s constantly. If you just roll 1 and 2s constantly, and you always come back injured. Okay, it's the good thing is you lose alt effects you had, but the bad thing is you also lose the buffs you had, which I don't think this is great for Hierotek, but let's see what happens to Living Metal. In the ready step of each strategy phase, after resolving other rules in the step, e.g. reanimation protocols, each Hierotek Circle operative gains D3+1 wounds rolled separately. Oh yeah, that's fine. Actually, the trade-off is actually better. Now instead of healing like 2 wounds, you heal 2 to 4 wounds. So you could actually come back non-injured on a normal operative that doesn't have 12 wounds or more. Well, that doesn't have... Well, actually, everyone can come back non-injured as long as you roll high enough. So that's a fair trade-off. So now Living Metal once again happens after reanimation, but it's harder to reanimate and you still struggle from getting everyone killed. I have yet to see the rest of this article, so it's likely there could be more ways to bring battle operatives during the turning point, but let's read on. So far, I think it's a weird change to reanimation. It's technically better, but also because now it triggers on a 3-up instead of a 2-up, it's a lot worse. So then you've got the Tesla Weave equipment. Whenever an enemy operative ends its charge action, inflict D3 damage for each friendly Hierotek Circle operative within its control range. Oh my gosh, Tesla Weave got a huge buff. So now every time, basically, an enemy operative ends a charge action, it's not just 1 D3. If someone multi-charges 2 Hierotek Circle operatives, they now take 2 D3 damage. That is actually very, very good. So considering the trade-off you had with Living Metal, that's actually very, very powerful. Then you've got Living Lightning, another firefight ploy. Uses when a friendly operative immortal is performing the shoot action and you select a Tesla Carbine. Until the end of that action, that weapon doesn't have 2 inches from the devastating rule, but has the blast 2 weapon special rule. So instead of doing basically mortal wounds, well, damage from 2 inches of everyone, you turn into a blast weapon. Interesting. It's actually, I don't know if it's deadlier on Into the Dark, but if you need a blast shot, the main weakness Hierotek Circle had was dealing with like decent hordes. So this is actually really, really good. Like it means you probably always take 1 Tesla Immortal every time you're playing, unless you're playing elites, I guess, but it's very nice there. Then we have the Death Mark, who is 2 APL, movement 5, 3-up save, and 10 wounds. So that's the standard profile. So they've gone up from 4-inch move to a 5-inch move. So a nice change there. The Synaptic Disintegrators, 4 attacks hitting on 2s, 4-3, devastating 2, heavy dash only, piercing 1, severe. Still hits on 2s. It now does 1 more damage on a crit because it used to be 4-4, devastating 1. So that's devastating 2. Doesn't have silent, but it does have severe. So if you don't roll any crits, you can turn one of your normal successes into a crit. That is very good. And it's buffed in melee. It used to be 3 attacks hit on 3s, 3-3. Now it's 3 attacks hit on 3s, 3-4. So the Death Mark got a nice glow up there. Then you've got Death Marked. Whenever this operative ends the shoot action, the target gains 1 of your Death Marked tokens if it wasn't incapacitated. Whenever a Hierotek Circle Death Mark operative is shooting an enemy operative that has 1 of your Death Mark tokens, that friendly operatives have the Seek special rule. So not only would you ignore light cover, you would ignore heavy cover. So in case you somehow don't kill the target, you will kill them next activation. I mean, next turning point. I really like that. Or even throughout the turning point, if you can counteract and stuff, that is very, very good. I like that a lot. Then you've got multi-dimensional vision for 1 action point until the start of this operative's next activation. Whenever it's shooting, enemy operatives cannot be obscured. So you combine that with Death Mark, like you activate him last, shoot someone, if you don't kill them, when you counteract, you ignore all Seek and they can't be obscured and you just guarantee the kill. Very, very nice. If you can still take more than 1 Death Mark, you now might take 2 per game. That's actually really, really nice. So the trade-off there, reanimation protocols now just happen for everyone, but you can only revive 1 per turn. We'll have to see what happens with the Reanimator and your other Cryptex. But the Death Mark is a lot more better. The Tesla weapon now has a blast option, and now anyone who charges 1, well, for every friendly operative they charge, they take D3 for each. So that's D3 damage. So you have a lot of ways to like just chip down the opponent and kill. So Hierotek Circle looking a lot better. Then you've got Brood Brothers. They have Crossfire. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting against or fighting against an enemy operative, after resolving all of your attack dice, if that enemy operative isn't incapacitated, gains 1 of your Crossfire tokens. Whenever a friendly operative is shooting against, fighting against, or retaliating against an enemy operative that has 1 of your Crossfire tokens, you can remove any of those tokens. For each that you do, you can reroll 1 of your attack dice. So this has actually changed based on this article. So not only you don't have to do the action, basically. So it will trigger from a counteract, but also if you are being fought, you are now, if the enemy opponent survives, they still get a crossfire token. So you can actually generate more, which is a nice change. Then you've got the Cult Talisman. Once per turning point, whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative, Broodbrother operative, excluding the Patriarch, you can retain one of your normal successes as a crit instead. So you always take this. Great. That's fine. Way buffed than before. Then you've got Insidious. This is another Firefight ploy. Use this Firefight ploy after an activation. Before the next activation, you can perform a free dash action with one of your friendly operatives, as long as it's not a valid target for an enemy operative when it starts and ends that action. So exactly the same as it is now, just a free dash, usually used after your opponent activates or before to get into safe positions. So Broodbrothers look completely unchanged there, apart from the crazy Cult Talisman now. Then you've got the Icon Ward, who is 2 APL, 6-inch move, 5 up save, 7 wounds, standard profile. For the kill team, 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 3-5, large knife, which is unchanged. Cult Icon, whenever determining control of a marker within 6 of this operative, treat the APL as friendly operatives as being 1 higher, as long as you have at least 1 operative on that marker, which is unchanged. And then Brood Devotion, once per turning point, whenever a friendly Broodbrother operative is incapacitated within 6 inches of the operatives, you can use this rule. If you do, before it's removed, it can do a free action excluding fight and mind control, and you can change this order to do so. Then it's incapacitated as normal, and you can't use it with the medic. So the Broodbrother Icon Ward is actually unchanged. It's technically been buffed, because before the Demolition Expert couldn't work with it. Now it looks like it can. I am hoping for a day 1 FAQ for Broodbrothers to make it sync up, because that makes sense. And hopefully in the first balanced data slate, these 2 free abilities are turned into actions. But we'll see. I mean, if Broodbrothers are unchanged, they are going to be one of the best kill teams. They are still overperforming at the moment, so they will continue to overperform likely into the new edition. But we'll see. They were the last kill team to drop technically, so maybe they'll get a day 1 FAQ to update them to how the game was before we go into 3rd edition. But otherwise, Broodbrother's looking completely solid. So if you already had a Broodbrother kill team, you're probably like golden. Then we've got the Hearthkyn Salvagers. So they have the grudge mechanic. Whenever an enemy operative incapacitates a friendly operative, that enemy operative gains a grudge token for the battle. Whenever a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operative is shooting or fighting or retaliating against an enemy operative, for each of your grudge tokens that enemy operative has, you can retain one of your normal successes as a crit. Note that grudge tokens are removed when you do this. So slight correction to the Broodbrothers, because they don't retaliate. That means they don't give crossfire tokens when they retaliate. But grudge tokens are completely unchanged. So every time your opponent kills one of your enemy or one of your friendly operatives, they get a grudge token. And for every grudge token you have, you can turn a normal success into a crit, which is nice. So completely unchanged. Then you've got excavation tools. Friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operatives can perform the pickup marker action for 1 less AP and don't have to control the marker to do so, taking precedence over that action's conditions. They only need to contest the marker. That seems fine. That's a fine buff. Okay, whatever. I guess it's thematic. Then we have our first strategy ploy of the article, Toy Learns. Select 1 objective marker, one of your mission markers. Whenever an enemy operative is within 3 inches of that marker, it's treated as having 1 additional grudge token. So this is unchanged. It's actually been buffed, because before it only worked on objectives, now works on mission markers. Your own, but it basically goes, depending where you put stuff, like let's say attack op, if your opponent tries to contest it, they're now going to be in a lot of pain. So Toy Learn's got a slight buff. Excavation tools are very good. So a nice buff there. So then you have the Cognitar, 2 APL, 5-inch move, which is the same as is now. 3 up save, 8 wounds, unchanged. Its bolter is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 3-4 accurate 1. So auto retain a hit, very nice. And then the Ion Blaster is 4 attacks, 8 on 4s, 3-4 piercing crits 1. So basically, if your opponent has any grudge tokens, you become piercing 1. Both are very, very good, but we need to see what the rest of the rerolls are. So you've got the Strategic Gambit. Place either your attack or defense marker in the kill zone. Whether a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operative is shooting against or fighting against or attacking against an enemy operative that's within 3 inches of your attack marker, you can reroll one of your attack dice. Whenever an enemy operative is shooting a friendly Hearthkyn Salvager operative that's 3 inches of your defense marker, you can reroll one of your defense dice. In the ready step of the next strategy phase, remove that marker. So basically, it works exactly the same as now, but you can't reposition reposition it during the turning point. So you have to dictate it to more. But in that case, I still think the Iron Blaster is the way to go. Unless you're facing an Invon heavy team, then you'd probably go with the Autak Pot and Bolter. But this is... The other thing is they said rules continue on the other side. They've only sold us one side, Games Workshop. You can't tease us like this. This is unfair titillation of the dwarven variety. But they've actually showed a lot with this freebie for the Votann, namely that we now know what their bolters do. So Iron Blasters are unchanged, but bolters now give Accurate 1. So interesting. We still haven't seen what their like proximate firepower if they go up to +1 ballistic skill, but I would be surprised if that changed. Then we've got the Hernkyn Yaegir, so they have resourcefuls. So in the ready step of each strategy phase after the first, you gain a resourceful point determined by the number of friendly operatives in the kill zone that aren't within control range of enemy operatives. At the end of each turning point, you discard them. So if you have 6 operatives, you get 2, 3 to 5, 1, 0 to 2, 0, which is unchanged. Whenever a friendly operative that isn't within control range is activated, you can spend 1 of your resourceful points. Until the end of the activation, you add 1 to the APL stat, will gain D3 plus 1 lost wounds. And Dauntless Explorers, as a strategic gambit in the first turning point, each friendly Hernkyn Yaegir operative wholly within your drop zone can immediately perform a free reposition action, and each that does so must move wholly within 4 inches of your drop zone. Jaegers got a huge glow up with this. The interesting thing on Into the Dark, they can no longer open a door when they do this, but getting a free 4-inch move for your whole kill team is amazing. Very, very good. I like that. Otherwise, their resourceful points are unchanged. Then for their equipment, whenever an enemy operative is shooting a friendly operative, if the ranged weapon has the blast or torn weapon rule, you can reroll 1 of your defense dice, and friendly operatives aren't affected by the devastating X weapon roll unless they are the original target, which I think is unchanged. So now it just goes on everyone. You may take this, but you probably won't. Then you've got Tough Survivalists. The first time an attack dice inflicts damage on each friendly operative during the turning point, in the resolve attack dice step, you can halve that inflicted damage, rounding up to a minimum of 2. I think that's a buff, because I believe it used to be to a minimum of 3. No idea what's going on with Jaegers. Jaegers, yo, like, do they want us to buy all the Jaegers? Is this what Games Workshop wants us to do? Jaegers, I guess, did not sell enough? What is going on here? Then you've got the Jaeger Bombast, 2 APL. They've gone up to 5 inches of movement. They have a 4-up save and 8 wounds. So the Wrought revolvers are 4 attacks, 8 on freeze, 3/5, range 9, ceaselessly for 5 up. So about a buff there because it was balanced before. And then Fists. So Wrought Negotiation, as a strategic gambit, this operative can immediately perform a free shoot action, and you can change this order to engage to do so. So a lot better now because you can do it in the strategy phase and you can still shoot. Brazen Killer, whenever this operative incapacitates an enemy operative with its Warlock revolvers, roll 1d6 separately for each enemy operative visible and within 2 inches of that enemy operative. If the result is higher than their APL stat, subtract 1 till the end of their next activation. So, my gosh, Jaegers blowing up, literally. Jaegers are 5-inch move. They all get a free move at the start of the first turning point, well, in the strategy phase. We still don't know what happens if the locator blocks that. And they can all change their active action, like their order turning point 1, so they could move up and do crazy alpha strikes, their 5-inch move. And with their ploy up, they reduce damage to a minimum of 2. Like, they're crazy. They probably still have their super conceal ploy. My gosh, Jaegers might actually be insane. And the Jaeger Bombast, if you can still group activate, you could, as a Warlock Negotiation, well, you probably can't do it, but still, Warlock Negotiation now happening in a strategic gambit is very good. Like, this is crazy. This team, hugely buffed, maybe over buffed. We might get a like day 1 FAQ for their damage negation to go to a minimum of 3, because I think army-wide, it's proven literally last edition that army-wide minimum 2 was too damaging for the meta, so they have to change that, right? But otherwise, my gosh, yeah, if you've invested in stock, I will say I already have a full Hernkyn Yaegir kill team that just needs to be painted. So you can't accuse me. Who do I pick? Pathfinders, Jaegers, there's so many to choose from. Oh, it's so nice. And unfortunately, we don't get any Wormblade previews. Those will be coming in free online rules for the new edition. So overall, wow, Xenos Day gave a lot. Kommandos and Brood Brothers look very much unchanged. Kommandos got some slight buffs. Brood Brothers are unchanged. Pathfinders look very interesting. They might be the anti-melee team, which would be so nice. You know, everyone's like, oh, John, goats are fine. I was like, fine. Eat Pathfinders, goats. You're going to learn how to respect Pathfinders. But then Hearthkyn Salvagers still look really good as well. And the Yaegir kill team, it's Yaegiring time, and then I Yaegired all over the place. Wow, Hernkyn Yaegir's huge glow up. I'm so happy I already have my full kill team. I guess, considering they're probably going to be the same, but just with a huge buff, the fact your whole kill team, 10 operatives, moving 4 inches at the start of the game, then they get to activate and they move 5 inches now. Wow, right? And their damage negation is a lot better. I can't wait to see what the rest of the kill team does, because especially if plasma knives remain as they have for other kill teams and it becomes like a universal equipment, oh my gosh. Well, in terms of like it goes on everyone. Yaegir stocks rising, but I'm very interested to see what happens to Pathfinders. Pathfinders have lost +1 to hit, but they look way more better at dealing with being charged and stuff. I'm very happy with the Xenos Day. Chaos Day was a bit underwhelming. Xenos Day keeps on giving. Imperial Day, Chaos Day, that was it. Eldari and Xenos Day. Those are the articles where it's at. Tomorrow we'll have all Space Marines, so we'll finally get to see what's happened to Space Marines. But my gosh, is this the addition of Xenos? It might be. I'm very hyped. This is very, very good. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's review, well, preview. Are you as hyped as I am? Oh. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, and a affiliate Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adjuncts of the crew, I have Tom, Super Cow, Stephen, Sam, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Mercenary Q, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangzu, Dave Meatswell, Dad of Goldens, Chris, and then for my Veterans of the Crypt, I have Samja and Ryan. So thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, tomorrow's Space Marine Day. I managed to save my voice for this video. It's going because I recorded a lot of videos last night and I'm quite sick now. So hopefully my voice will survive for tomorrow. I mean, I've saved it for the Xenos Day. That was the most important day, but I'm so hyped. Remember, no matter how many Xenos you play against in Kill Team, there's always a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit.